What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Yamcast. Today is episode 9. We're going to be looking at Triumph's 007 Scrambler exclusive reveal. And we're going to be taking on some user comments, also answering some questions on our Discord server. We're also going to be diving into a couple Craigslist bikes and just kind of hanging out. We're doing this live for the very first time, so if you guys want to join in live on Discord, hit up yammie.co and check it out. I'm waving at all of our sweet boys right now on the live stream. There's 12 whole people on the stream right now. Hopefully more of them show up. I promise you it's a very active Discord server, so definitely go and check it out and join up. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Before we jump in here really quick, just wanted to give a big shout out to the Ridge wallets. You guys know that we've been supported by them for a long time here on the channel. They make the best minimal wallet in the world. I believe Spite and I have them on hand right now.
Yep, actually, I got mine right here.
Yeah, look at that. We do practice what we preach. They have like 30,000 5-star reviews. They're basically indestructible. I've had this one for well over 2 years now, and I've thrown it and chucked it, and I'm like, this wallet cannot be killed, basically. So definitely worth the price, I would say, and you can get 10% off using the code down below and hitting the link. So be sure to check out the Ridge wallet, and thank you to them for supporting our episode. Now let's get into it.
All right, so the first story, and maybe I'll post this on Discord so the guys can see it.
Someone referenced this on Discord, I think, right? They were like, have you seen the 007 Scrambler?
I will share it for you Discord boys so you can follow along at home.
Wow, that's actually a cool feature, huh? We can share the article and they can look at it while we're doing it.
Exactly. There it goes. Now it's loading. All right. So, the first story that we are tackling today is this new Triumph Scrambler Special Edition. We've been talking a lot about special editions lately.
Yeah.
But it is this Scrambler 1200 James Bond Edition. And just let's get some initial first reactions to it.
I mean, it looks really cool. It's all blacked out. It's all like aluminum and special and, neat. And when I say neat, I mean like nice and tidy. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of ornamentation on it. Triumph does a really good job with these special edition bikes. I really like their TFC lines. I don't know if you've seen those, like the Rocket 3 TFC or the Bobber and all that stuff. They do a cool job. The 007 collab is a little out of the blue for me, though, I gotta say.
Well, have you seen the trailers for the new movie?
There's a Triumph in it, right?
Yeah, that whole scene.
Is it a speed triple or is it a triple?
It's the Scrambler.
Oh, it's this Scrambler. Okay, that's cool.
So
yeah,
getting that cross media collaboration going.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing, and we were talking about this earlier, the one thing I don't like about this bike is just how enormous that Triumph logo is.
Let's see if I can zoom in on it a little bit here.
It is absolutely massive.
It is quite large. I mean, I
think that's the biggest Triumph logo I've ever seen on any bike.
It's the size of the knee cutout in the gas tank, which is excessive to say the least.
Yeah. It's quite enormous. I do like the aero system that's fitted on it from the factory, though, and the high pipe's a nice touch.
Well, the Scrambler, doesn't it come with high pipes straight from the factory?
Yeah, but it's just a nice touch in general. I kind of wish my sled had it, but it doesn't.
Yeah, get yourself some ground clearance, and so you don't smash those nice Italian pipes right into the
Oh, I already smash those pipes all the time. You know that. You know I do.
And I actually love on the heat shield right here, you can see the 007 logo. If we pull it up down here, you can see it right there. I mean, it's classy.
It's a nice little touch. They're only making a few of them, right? They're not making too many of them.
250 available worldwide with a whopping 18,500 pound price tag, which in real dollars is...
Yeah, in non-monarchy currency puts us at, 21 American, something like that?
I think that sounds about right.
All right. That's pretty spicy for a bike.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, the when you think about it, the Scrambler's based on that base Bonneville, and that base Bonneville is like, I think, 8-9, something like that.
Yep.
Under 10 grand for sure. To think that they can get it up to a spec that's over 20 grand is pretty nuts.
And it's just It looks like it's the same thing as the regular Triumph, just
a little ornamentation of 007, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a Scrambler 1200.
But like the guys are saying here in the stream, the TFT with the 007 logo in it is very classy right there.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. And not in the main reel, but you can see it right there as it wakes up. It's got the little 007 logo.
I will say, do you think that you would that the hype or the novelty of the 007 thing would fade over time?
Yes.
I feel like it would. Yeah.
I think this is for the diehard Bond fan who just absolutely wants to, be James Bond. I wish we could zoom in on what's on the triple tree right here.
It's nothing compared to the superhero GSXR we saw last week, but they can try.
Oh, it says Bond Edition right on the triple tree right there.
This to me feels like a bike that, some super rich guy would buy to just put in his living room and just be like, oh, it's the 007 Bond, and like never ride it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like a bike you'd actually want to just rip around on.
Kind of similar to the Rush 1000 we talked about last week. It's just for somebody to buy and look at.
Yeah. It is a nice thing to look at, though. It
is very nice, and it's a shame that it will not be ridden by most people.
Yeah. And this is also important to note that Triumph does two different versions of these Scramblers. They have the more street-oriented version, which is this one, and they'll also sell you, I believe it's the XE.
Mm-hmm. The XE and the XC.
XC. I don't remember which one is the more hardcore off-road one.
The XE, I believe.
I think so too. But yeah, this is the more street-oriented one. So although, given you have a bigger wire spoke wheel up front and some good ground clearance, boy, you'd have to be quite brave to yeet this thing down a trail.
You really would.
I would never do that with this bike. It's way too brave to do that with. But some light gravel roads, why not?
And like Jake Hay here says, you need to ride that thing while wearing an Omega watch.
Yes.
You need to be in your suit with the special watch.
You need to have the nice Triumph leather jacket, some sort of awry or showy helmet. Nothing else will do.
No, man, it's not an awry. You got to have one of those like old Bell bullets with the holes
in
the top.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you got to have the goggles with the wraparound. Mm-hmm. Yep. You got to have the leather gloves with the little holes in them and the little like the driver gloves. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. The little gold latch and stuff.
If you're gonna ride a fashion statement, you might as well make one while you're doing it.
You got to basically look like what every guy who reads GQ thinks a guy riding a motorcycle looks like.
Yes.
I feel like there's so many guys that read GQ and they see like some handsome guy with the long hair and he's like getting off his Triumph and he's like, oh, I'm gonna buy a bike and look like that. And then you don't. You just look like some high vis nerd with your clear frames, with your clear visor and all that.
Clear frames.
That's my own clear frames. Yeah.
But it's a cool bike.
Yeah, it's a neat bike. And also for everyone at home, we this one in particular is a bit of a light week because we started up a new content schedule, and so we're actually recording this podcast just a few days after doing our other one. So this is actually the only piece of news we have for this week. So now we will roll on over to the community part of our podcast, take some questions from our Discord boys, and maybe some call-ins too. So let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm gonna share the phone number for you guys.
We're really efficient today.
In. Yes, we are. All right. I gotta reach around the mics here.
Let's see what the boys are saying. Make them do Guy Martin edition. That would be awesome.
Guy Martin, enlighten me.
You don't know who Guy Martin is?
Not off the top of my head.
He's the really fast-talking English guy who's done the Isle of Man TT, and he's done a couple TV shows, and he's like a complete nut, and he like rides anything and everything like really fast. He's a very, very recognizable character. He talks all jumbled. You can barely understand him. And he's got this big, bushy brown hair. And he's a truck mechanic by trade, but he still races motorcycles and stuff. He's a cool guy.
It sounds like some Top Gear character.
Yeah, he's a bit of a character. Yeah. The West guy says Guy Martin joins the server.
All right, the call-in number is officially live for y'all who want to call in.
If you want to chat with us. But before we do that, I think we've got a couple questions or comments we could address, maybe?
Yeah, while we're waiting for a call in, let's scroll up here.
I feel like now we're definitely going to get a call like instantly, like the other time where people barely called us.
So here we have a question from Amrock0292. My wife is getting her license soon, and we're considering getting a pair of beginner bikes. I'm still fairly new, and my current bike barely runs. Sorry about that. We're looking at the Z400 and the Ninja 400 as a pair versus going with the R3 and MT03 pair. Love to get some feedback while we're shopping.
First of all, I think that's so cool. Where like you and your significant other like, you know, gonna go all in and both get beginner bikes or both like learn to ride together. Like that is awesome, right? Like I love that, first of all. Second of all, I mean, you know, they're both pretty similar. You just got to decide if you want something with a little bit more wind protection or not, because they kind of ride really similarly. Spite, you noticed that when on the R3 versus the MT03, you didn't really fit MT03 versus R3, right?
Yes. So the problem I have with the MT03 is I just do not fit in where the tank's knee cuts are. Maybe I'll roll some footage back, but there's some really just very tight feels in that bike. Where the rear seat, the pillion seat hump is, it's just too small for a guy my size. But the Ninja 400 felt great. You know, I didn't get any of those cramped feelings while I was riding it.
Yeah.
So
the 400 definitely has quite a bit more oomph than the little 300 that Yamaha gives you.
Yes, I feel like you have to wind the parallel twin out quite a lot more
in
the R3 than you do with the Ninja 400 Z400. So personally, if it were me, I would say get the Ninja 400 Z400 pair.
Well, I think they want to know if they should get like an R3 or...
It's
R3 MT03 pair. They're not going to do like a Cowie Yamaha pair. They're not going to live in a house divided, right?
Yeah, they're going to get the Z400 and the Ninja 400.
Okay, so they want to do naked
R3.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I would say do the naked ones as well. I mean, that would be my choice.
Well, it sounds like they want to get either the Cowies or the Yamahas. So get the naked fully fared and the naked fully fared from one manufacturer. So we're looking at the Z400 and Ninja 400 as a pair versus going with the R3 and MT03 as a pair.
Right. Why is this was so complicated for my brain to understand for some reason.
So
I get it now, but I would say go with the Cowie for sure. You're just gonna get a little more punch. It's a little bit more interesting. Yeah.
So here we have Gearhead asking, I would like to hear more about the braking system on the R1. What is the benefit of having both brakes activated with the lever, and do other bikes run with this system as well?
So yes, other bikes do run with this system. The BMW S1000RR, for example, has a combined braking system. And this is, it's one of those things where for street riding, it's just going to give you a bit more of a stronger braking feel. And it's just going to allow the rear brakes to do a little bit of work that you won't have to actually do manually yourself. Because I notice for me, when I ride personally on the street, I always blend as I'm coming to a stop, my rear brake and my front brake. I'll start with my front and then dial in the rear. And as my rear comes in, my front starts tapering off. That's just how I like to brake to a stop. But with these bikes, because they have a combined braking system, it's just a little bit easier to do. It doesn't really provide too much benefit on track, in my opinion, because when you're coming into a braking zone super hot on track, your front's pulling in like 95% of the braking forces anyways. Your rear brake doesn't even really do much. There are certain super high level advanced techniques that you can use to like dab the rear brake a little bit while you're coming in to get the rear out, but us mere mortals cannot do that. It's a very difficult thing to do.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the benefit of the front and combined brakes there. Yeah.
I love the way the R1's brakes feel. They feel so good to me. You said they were a little touchy. It's actually like the perfect lever feel for me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because they're activating that rear brake, it keeps it from diving so hard.
If I remember correctly, the VFR has combined brakes.
It does not. Mine does not.
My buddy's has combined brakes, and this is the older gen than yours. Did they change that feature?
Leadham is saying here that he has it on his VFR, so it might be a Gen 5, because I believe you have a Gen 5, Leadham, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the Gen 6 VFR 800F does not have combined brakes, but Honda uses them all the time. Like the Goldwing's got combined brakes.
That makes sense. Yeah. It's a 900-pound motorcycle.
Big heavy brakes have a lot of combined brake systems, just so you don't have to like find that rear lever and you can hold it on a hill better. But let's see if we've got another question down.
I think one up. If you go up, Sir Pipes asked us one right there in the middle. Go down.
Nope. Scroll down.
Right there
Sir Pipes. Yammie Noob would like to know your opinions on the comeback of cafe racers and scramblers, and how do you think its impact on motorcycling overall?
Ooh, that's a big question. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that one. So, to Sir Pipes, thank you for submitting your question. The cafe craze has kind of been going on for damn near over a decade now, I would say. It kind of started...
Oh, we've got a phone call here.
We'll maybe... Do you want to... Let's think about how we want to do this. Do you want to pause on the question or take the call?
Let's take the call.
I think that's better, yeah. In case
This
we
guy's
can't get
calling
back to
from
him.
across the pond.
The West guy, how's it going? You're on the Yamcast.
Howdy guys, Guy Martin here. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well. I'm sure that you are happy that we are not filming this at 6 p.m. local time and you're actually awake now.
I am fully awake and yeah, I'll leave the other part out, otherwise it's non-PG.
Yeah. What can we do for you today?
Just a sudden question as I was watching it. It's nothing motorcycle related, but it's more or less related to you two. How did you guys meet?
Ah, that's a fun one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so Spite was, so to take it way, way back, Spite was actually one of the first patrons on the Patreon that I started in like 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing, because I know your real name, obviously, but I remember seeing your real name on there from way back. And so he was actually a pretty diehard supporter of the channel from way back then. And then when I started up version 2 of the Patreon with the beginner bike giveaway series and the build and all that, he was one of the first people on the server and was just like super active and like really involved. And then you also became really involved because we did the 919, which you voted on when we found it on Craigslist. And then one of the things that he did that made me like super kind of think that he was like a great guy was, you know, the original 919 we had, huge nugget. I made it even worse. I broke it. Spite actually found a donor 919 here in Austin, and he drove it up from Austin to Dallas with a U-Haul with him and his buddy Don, and he made it all the way up, dropped the bike off, just like really came through and really helped out. And so I've just always had him in the back of my mind as like someone who, if I ever needed to, would really help out with the channel. And then, you know, the opportunity came up, and I was switching editors at the time, and we went on a ride for some. You helped me out with one video for the exhaust, the SV, right?
Yeah, when we switched the SV from the pipe that's right there to the proper, I think we put the proper Leo Vinci system on there.
Yeah. And I wanted you there so I could have someone else to hear the differences. And then we just got kind of chatting, and I was like, this would be really good if someone local helped me with my videos. And then here we are.
Yep.
Yeah. Did I sum it up right, Spite?
That's pretty much, hit it on the head.
Nice, cool.
So
I'm glad to know the origin story from start to finish.
That's an interesting story. I must not lie. But yeah, so it just randomly popped out of nowhere on Patreon and brought a 919 down to you.
Pretty much, yeah. I remember not only. It wasn't just the 919, but like you were having issues putting the gas tank back on before we were getting it running.
You were just fielding tech support questions to the 919 constantly. Yeah.
Because I was dealing with a bunch of problems with my own 919, so I was very familiar with that. I was very, very familiar with that platform while we were working on it. So
yeah,
just got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, through Honda ownership, he stumbled into a nice gig here at Yammie Noob.
They say you meet the nicest people on a Honda.
Look at that. Yeah. We have a comment about that later that I want to read.
Yes, we do.
Very funny. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's interesting. Yeah. So, another question. How long are you probably going to keep the beginner bike series going? Like, is it going to be a couple more series on and then give it up, or continue until you die?
I love how I only my two options are either do it until I die or give it up immediately. I don't really know. I mean, it's profitable and it works really well, and the goal right now is to just keep doing more of them. So for the next round, we're gonna get like 5 or 6 more bikes, and because more people are joining up on the server, and so it just makes more sense to give more people chances to win the bikes. So in theory, yeah, I don't see why I'd give it up. Maybe at some point it kind of naturally reaches some sort of threshold level where, maybe we have like 15 at one time and people are like, that's enough bikes. Like we can't physically do any more than that without going insane. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see an end in sight. So what do you think?
I mean, as long as there's beginner bikes in the shop, I'll be here. I mean,
yeah.
it's always fun riding around on these bikes. I'll tell you, it's been the most illuminating part of the job is spending seat time in so many different bikes has really shown me what I want out of a motorcycle that I own.
Yeah.
You know,
it also allows you to, when you jump on other ones, you can just kind of more easily and quickly identify like what's good, what's bad, what's weird, what's not. You know, like it just gives you, like you were saying, it elevates your riding and your motorcycling really, really quickly to be on that many different bikes. Yeah.
But eventually we're gonna have, it's gonna get to the point where we have like an R3, an MT-03, an SV650 in like all three trims, the half fare, full fare, middle fairing kind of thing, but there will be some crossover.
What I still want to do one day is to do a full line. I want to do like every MT bike. That would be awesome.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Be expensive though.
Yeah, a little bit, but we'll make it work. My accountant already hates me, so why not make me hate me some more? Why don't we just do that?
Yeah, I'd say that's the one thing I'm a bit jealous about you two. I must admit, like, you get all the diversity of like riding different bikes at your own free will. I mean, the only bikes I've ridden, are, funny enough, my bike, which is a Honda CBF 125, the 2010 model.
Nice.
And funny enough, a Yamaha R1.
Those couldn't be any more different bikes possible.
Yeah.
No, I literally just got onto it, turned on, and I was like, right, what am I doing is like full power mode. I was like, okay, pop into first. Without even realising it, I was a mile down the street. I brought it back to him, just put it on the kickstand, just said no, and walked off.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I was like, 125 is perfect for me. I'm just going to leave it at that for the time being.
Yeah, you know what they say, it's more fun to ride a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow, so I'd say there's lots of fun to be had on the 125. But thanks for calling, West Guy. I do appreciate it. We're going to answer some chats over here and keep on rolling, but always helpful and grateful to have your chat on here, so thanks.
That's all right, my pleasure. Have a good day, you two.
All right, later, man.
Bye-bye.
How's it going? Dylan, you're on the Yamcast. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. What can we do for you?
Hey, well, so I got a comment first. When I was listening, the audio from the phone call is super muffled. I could tell you guys could hear it, but I couldn't hear it on YouTube. Anyway, I got a question for both of you guys.
All right. Shoot.
So, have either of you guys ever run away from a police officer? Maybe not like a chase, but seen one pass you the opposite direction and kind of sped up a little bit to get away? And if yes, why? And if no, why not? Like, how do you guys feel about it?
So to recap,
how would you like to answer that one?
Well,
Spike?
first let's tell the stream what the question was. The question was, have we run from the cops? And if yes, why? And if no, why not?
Yeah.
And I can say sort of, because in my situation, I was going a little quick, and
PDQ.
Yeah, PDQ. And I think I saw the lights come on. I think. But I couldn't confirm nor deny whether they came on. So what I did was I just pulled off the highway and, went into town. So, was it really running? Not really, because I didn't know he was coming for me. I didn't know he wasn't coming for me. It was 35. Everyone treats 35 like the Fury Road. So,
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
But what about you?
I would like to respectfully decline to comment on this topic. That's what I would like to do. That's probably the wisest thing for me to do. Can neither confirm nor deny if I've ever done anything of the sort. Just not gonna comment at all. That's the best course of action there.
Do you guys think there's a pretty important distinction between actively evading the police, or like what Spike just said, where you're kind of like, he's probably gonna come try to get me?
So here's my thing about kind of running and evading and all that. You should ride in a way on the street that's not gonna happen too often to you, right? And there are, I would say 99% of the cases, you're better off just pulling over and just kind of dealing with your fate, because unless you're. So here's the thing. If you never ride at like a $150 on the highway, you're never going to get pulled over and go to jail or anything like that. So if you get pulled over for lightly speeding somewhere, odds are your speeding ticket's going to be a whole lot less worse than getting an evasion of police arrest, So if you're doing like 15 over or something, just pull over, accept your fate, because if you do get caught trying to run from the police, that's much, much, much worse of a situation than just taking a speeding ticket. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
There's also, so that's also for only street riding. I know that for a lot of off-road boys, there's been times, if you're riding somewhere that maybe you shouldn't be riding or you're trespassing somewhere. I think that if you're on a very nimble dual sport or a dirt bike and you can just kind of get between the pines or the hills, I think it's like all bets are off type of thing. Like I don't really know of any dirt biker that just willfully just kind of pulls over on a trail or something.
Yeah, that's going to be like a DNR guy or like a park ranger.
Yeah.
And they're just going to tell you to go somewhere else.
Yeah, what I imagine you're on like a proper enduro bike, you just, you just turn them and say you have no power here and they just scramble on up a hill somewhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to chase someone on a real dirt bike.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, so all the stream out there and everyone on the podcast, make good choices. Don't run away from the police. Very bad idea. Ride in a way that even if you do get pulled over, it's not going to be that bad. And do your best.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. As someone who got a lot of trouble for running from the cops in my teens, I definitely won't ever do it again. So.
Oh, did you get caught doing it, running from the cops?
Oh, yeah, I went to jail.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, it's never worth it. It's always worth the ticket.
Yeah, listen to this guy. It's never worth it. Take the ticket, accept your fate. Sometimes the fisherman catches his squid, and that's just the way it goes.
Yep. All right, well, cool. Thanks for answering my question. I'll talk
All right,
to you
man.
guys later.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I can't answer that one. Just, I'm a changed man nowadays. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Yeah. How's it going, Don? You're on the Yamcast.
Oh, wow, I got through. How's it going, guys?
Good. What can we do for you?
I was wondering if I could ask something that's kind of a follow-up from your previous Yamcast. I know you guys were talking about the Fort 9 video regarding Harley and such, and as I was watching it, I'd been looking at some videos prior to that regarding the whole Harley situation, and some of the stuff I was reading made it seem like, to me anyway, they had more of a leadership problem than anything else throughout their history, and I think people kind of glossed over their new CEO and his whole ethos as kind of like a comeback CEO. And I was wondering if you guys could talk about that some.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. So for the people at home on the stream, Don wants us to dive into questions around Harley's leadership and their new CEO and all of that. And who better than our Harley boy to kind of take it away?
Sure. I mean, very clearly, Harley has had a problem with embracing the rebel aesthetic, right? And that's, they don't just decide to do that. So that's from the top down. They decided to embrace the rebel Easy Rider feel. Mm-hmm. And I think they tacked way too hard into it, honestly. And that's what the new CEO, I forget his name now. It's not on
Is it
my
Matt
head.
Levatich or is that the old one?
I think it is Levatich. I think it's Levatich now. And I think he's starting to do things that they should be doing. Like they're bringing out their electric bicycles, electric motorcycles, the Pan American, the Bronx concepts. I think that's the sort of thing that they needed to be doing in the early 2000s. Once they made the switch from, regular air-cooled bikes that were carbureted to fuel injection, they should have just started throwing some other oddball bikes in there to see what stuck. Like we talked about yesterday, or last podcast off camera, I didn't realize that Harley had such a big dirt bike line. And apparently that was a big part of their...
Yeah, back in the day, they were huge on that. Yeah, flat track racing and dirt biking, yeah.
Yeah, well, I knew the flat tracks, but I didn't realize they actually made like dedicated dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. And that's just something they should continue to do.
Yeah.
Harley hard enduro when, right?
Yeah.
So I would say my take on this is twofold, right? So on the one hand, I think the primary goal of every CEO of every modern company obviously is just to increase the share price, right? That's all they ever care about. Mm-hmm. And say whatever you will, and Harley through some wizardry and magic has somehow managed to do that, right? Their share price has gone up and earnings per share has gone up. Whether or not that's through a zombie company that doesn't deserve to actually pay out more dividends than it used to is up for debate, but that's the job of the CEO, is to make sure that share price goes up. I like your approach though, where it's like actually the job of a CEO is to provide value and to create good products and a good company that's profitable and sustainable and has longevity. But I mean, everything I'm seeing from Harley right now demonstrates to me a company that is not doing that, right? It's only just recently starting to do that and trying to change and do stuff. And, you know, from what I've seen in kind of startup land and other companies, anytime there's like tons of CEOs kind of flipping back and forth in a company, that's usually a bad sign. You don't want to see CEOs kind of flipping back and forth. But hopefully this guy can steer the ship in the right direction. Don, what do you think?
So my own opinion is, after kind of looking into this guy, and I think he only took over in December or January as the sole CEO. When you look back at his history with Puma, where he took it from basically going into bankruptcy and dying to being one of the top apparel brands, athletic wear, I've got a lot of hope because I got a lot of love for Harley. I mean, I just bought my first bike and it was a Harley. So I'm sure that some of that is optimism on my part just because I love the brand. But the fact that the guy's got such a strong background in marketing and he's got a history of turning companies around, it really kind of, it provides some optimism to me that I don't hear reflected in any of the other reviews that I see on YouTube. So anyway, thought I'd throw my 2 cents in.
I think a lot of it is just because YouTubers like to throw they like to be negative in the thumbnail. We're guilty of that sometimes, and it's easy to be like, oh, Harley-Davidson is dying because that's going to cause a lot of people to click on it, and they want the sense of optimism towards the end. A lot of the people who click on the Harley is dying video are not wanting to hear about how they could turn the ship around.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more valuable for people to focus on the failures that Harley's made, less about what they can do to fix it. You know what I mean? That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that people do tend to easily focus on the negative and the dying aspect of it. But, Don, hopefully to your point, if this guy has a track record of, turning the ship around and getting companies back on their feet, it would be cool to see Harley do that. But there's also a small part of me that thinks like, man, I don't, that's a big task. It's definitely a big task to try to do that. Yeah. Well, all right, man. I appreciate your call.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya. Will we ever go one podcast without talking about Harley?
Probably not.
God
no. And actually, a follow-up here, we have Cesar Rosales. Is that what that is? I can't really read it from here.
Yeah.
Do you think a brand new company could compete with HD? No.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think that they're just so entrenched right now. I don't think any cruiser company can really trade blows with Harley-Davidson.
Yeah, no cruiser company could. And also, like, to create a new motorcycle company takes so much capital, so much operational intensity to do that I don't think to think about someone starting another company, they'd probably just want to start a software company because it's going to be much more profitable, much more quickly than starting a brick and mortar, manufacturing company that makes motorcycles, right? Like, that'd just be so hard to do.
No, it would be completely just untenable.
Yeah, Leadham says victory failed for that reason. Yep.
Exactly. And,
yeah.
well, it's more about Victory. Victory's an interesting circumstance because they were owned by Polaris, who also owns Indian. Nobody knew who Victory really was. Everybody knew who Indian was. It made more sense to just send all of the Victory dollars to Indian and close Victory down.
Yeah.
So I think Victory is they're really a bummer in my opinion because they made some awesome bikes.
Yeah.
Like the Octane was the Scout, but so much better.
Yeah.
So, but we still have that question from Sir Pipes from way back when.
The comeback of Cafe Racers. Yeah.
Yes.
So, as I was saying earlier about it, the Cafe Racer craze kind of started well over a decade ago. I'd say like in 2007 and 2008, people started getting more interested in these cafe bikes. I remember in 2011, a buddy of mine was like obsessed with trying to get one. So they've definitely been around for a while. And I think that, honestly, it's done nothing but good for the industry because you got a bunch of people that maybe wouldn't have gotten into motorcycling decide to get into bikes, right? Like they're like, oh, this is a cool aesthetic. I want to try it. Let me get into it. They buy a Ducati Scrambler or a Triumph Scrambler. And, I think I think, motorcyclists, the more hardcore kind, which I consider you and I among, right? Like some of us might lambast them and be like, oh, they're not a real rider. They just bought it as a fashion accessory. But honestly, if you're on a bike, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like you're a motorcyclist. I don't think that you're a poser for just having a Scrambler and not getting into more hardcore bike. And I think it's a great thing.
But you also own a Scrambler. Your motorcycle is the result of this craze.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that the Scrambler and cafe craze has been going on for basically forever. Scramblers started with the Triumph Bonnevilles. They started with the Harleys in the 60s, where you just strip them down and try and do a hill climb. I think that it's a very... The fact that you can actually get a Scrambler now without having to put a ton of effort into it is awesome.
Yeah.
I think a factory Scrambler is about the best bike for just running around on the street.
Yeah.
Cushy suspension, kind of nimble, easy to whip around.
Good torque.
Yeah.
Cool looks,
Exactly. You get kind of a whole package.
Yeah, my sled has probably gotten the most compliments out of any bike I've ever owned. Mm-hmm. More people have come up to tell me that's a cool looking bike than any other bike I've owned. Yeah. So they have broad appeal, which is cool. So I think they're great.
Yeah. And honestly, impact of motorcycling overall, I think we're just going to see more and more of these neo retro cafe bikes turning into just different full lines.
I think we're going to start seeing neo retro, but from the 80s and 90s in the next 10 years. I think we're already seeing it a little bit. Like MV Agusta had that round headlight sport bike that they made.
The Z900.
The Z900 cafe, right? That's a little, little retro, a little 70s almost.
Yeah.
The Katana, right? The new Suzuki Katana. That's an 80s throwback. So I could really see 80s and 90s bike being the new retro craze.
2020 Hayabusa when?
Please. What else we got on chat? Any other questions?
So we've got one here that I just loved. It's from Grimy Gravy. Spite, I just bought a 2020 FX DRS, my first Harley, and I have a couple of concerns. One, my Spotify playlist only shows songs from Imagine Dragons. Not sure about that one. Two, every time I mount for the kickstand side, I hear the distinct screech of an American bald eagle, and it makes my dog nervous. Three, my phone autocorrects hell yeah, brother, as hell yeah, brother. And I can't get it to quit. Any tips from an HD rider? It sounds to me like you have hog syndrome there. That is just, you're a member of the Harley owner group, and that's just what happens. Mm-hmm. Once you get you get a nice little box when you buy your Harley that's got a pin in it.
Yeah.
It's got a big old Harley owners group coin and a patch for you.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get that, that's just what happens.
And the first thing that happens actually is you get a call from your dad, and he starts weeping openly on the phone, telling you how much he loves you now. That does happen once you buy a Harley. Got to make your dad love you. That's the only way you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did that happen? I feel like from you and your Harley experience, you bought a Harley and now you can't ever stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, they're such fun machines. Once you ride them, you really can't. There's nothing else like it because they're a bad motorcycle made well. So
that's a really good descriptor.
That's the best way I can say it. Because it's an air-cooled bike that doesn't make a lot of power, but when you get on it, you don't even care. It's a very soulful ride. It's fun, very tactile. It's a fun bike to ride.
It's fair, and it does this to you. So
yes.
Hell yeah, Grimy Gary. Grimy Gravy, rather.
Grimy
right?
Gravy.
Grimy Gravy.
How's our camera doing?
We're still recording. I don't know the time. We've been on this for 52 minutes. So this section, maybe we got time for one more comment or question on here.
Sure. Hey guys, question I have. Here we go.
On live.
Kenneth Layton.
Get into the mic.
Yep. I'm very new to bikes and have a huge interest of mine is spending a little time on the track. Picked up a naked bike and I was wondering if I should have gotten a fully faired.
So it really depends on what naked bike you got. They're not all made the same, but I will say if it was any naked bike made after the year 1998, you can have tons of fun riding it on track. Mm-hmm. Tons of people take their SV650s out on track, bone stock. Street Triple's a great bike to take on track, bone stock. The only place you will notice a difference really between a fully fared motorcycle and a naked motorcycle on track is if you have any really long straightaways. You might just you might get a lot of wind on your chest and it's a little annoying after a little bit. But to be honest, because you are going to be less committed in your riding position, it'll actually be a lot easier to ride all day long. And so, it's a nice thing to have when you're on a naked bike on track, and you can kind of much more quickly, ride it around and just be comfortable with it and not have to worry about, being uncomfortable on track. So I'd say if it's any newer naked bike, you're gonna be just fine. Yeah.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have much to offer there. At least not yet.
One day we'll do Spite's first track day on the channel.
I really want to take the DRZ to Harris Hill when it's done.
Someone had the audacity to write a comment and asked, "Who is faster on track, you or Spite?" It's like, let me think. Let me think. Okay, he's never been, and I've been a lot. Who's faster?
Definitely me. It's definitely me.
That'd be like we pull in a Harley into the shop and be like, oh, who knows more about it, Yam or Spite? Who can work on it quicker?
Yep.
It's probably gonna be you.
Oh boy, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like we should close our call-ins and move on to our comments section.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. We had some good calls this time.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It was a little sad after the last one. I thought nobody loved us, but
yeah,
clearly y'all do, and it makes me feel good inside.
Yeah.
All right, so
remember, Spite is paid on the positive comments we receive, so
absolutely
make sure you keep them coming.
All right, so let's do our comments first.
Yes.
Unfortunately, maybe we can copy and paste these into Discord. Let's see. Control.
Someone's chatting shit about my lap times. I know it's Wes guy. Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't share the comments with you, but we are going to read them, so it'll be all right. So the first comment was on the R1 versus Busa video. William Bryant says, "Sure, but when's the last time you saw a stretched out R1 with strippers and dragons airbrushed on it?" I rest my case.
That is true. The Busa has much more of a kind of storied legend behind it and mythos and general kind of like, culture around it than the R1. The R1 is like, oh, I'm a fast boy on an R1. The Busa is like, this is, I'm a man of culture. I've got dragons airbrushed on my bike.
I'm reminded of that one that was in I gotta believe it was like a Cleveland episode.
Had to be. Cleveland had the craziest bikes ever.
Yeah, it came from Craigslist that actually had airbrush strippers on it.
Yep.
It was like
I can see it in my mind, but I don't remember which one it was.
It was the red with the like strippers on it. It's burned into my memory.
Yeah.
But good grief, those Busa boys.
My favorite part about the R1 versus Busa video is how many Busa stands came out of nowhere being like, no, the Busa is faster than the R1. You just didn't do it right.
Yep.
I was like, no, it's not. It's not faster.
Really not.
It's not faster by a large margin. If you just do the back of the napkin math on it, you're like, oh, it weighs 600 pounds and has 175 horsepower versus 420 pounds and 200 horsepower.
There's
it's like,
no way it's faster.
It's not faster.
But those Busa boys, man, they're committed to the Busa life.
No.
Also on our R1 versus Busa video, if you want to take this one.
Yeah, we had Game Ride, and he said, I feel like I've joined a cult. Good. That's very good. Hit subscribe, and you will join the cult even more. I think it's because we have like so many in-jokes and memes around motorcycling culture, especially on the channel, that people, it's like, the Yammie Noob cult, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. But maybe he also said that because of how like dark and brooding the video was.
Which, yeah, that was a lot of fun making that
awesome
video that way.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to read this one.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, so this is from episode 8 of the Yamcast.
Dylan Moldovan says, Honda Nice campaign, LMAO, gayest shit ever. Anyone who bought a bike from that is a gigantic pussy. It's getting annoying how ignorant Yammie really is about Harley. Like, you know nothing and just have a shit opinion, BC. You think it's cool to be uncomfortable and go too fast. If you want a Harley, you'll get a Harley over any other any other cruiser is boring.
Oh man, there's so much to love in that. I just love the fact that it's like the campaign's like, hey, Hondas are cool, get a bike, and this guy's just like, that's fucking gay. I'm 12 and that's fucking gay as hell, man. Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I don't know everything about Harley, but I feel like I've gotten secondhand Harley poisoning from you at this point. And I know some things about them. But it's funny because I actually don't think it's cool to be uncomfortable and go too fast. How many times do I get on the R1 and then we get back to the shop and I'm like, I would never ride this on the street.
Yeah.
This is so annoying.
Yeah, you guys just don't see what we talk about when we're off camera, which is we get on the R1, we film for about a half hour, and then we have to ride it back to the shop, and we're just like, this sucks.
Yeah, we're both like old men just complaining about how uncomfortable it is. We're like, oh my God, this bike blows. And you're like, I can't wait to get back on the Intercept. I'm like, I want to be on the Scrambler so bad. So, sorry, Dylan, to burst your bubble, but I actually don't love being uncomfortable and going fast.
One day we'll get you on a real Harley.
Get a real bike.
Now, episode 8, another one for you, if you want to take this.
Yeah, Eddie G says, I gotta say, Yammie talking about creative destruction gave me a chubby. If I didn't like you before, I definitely do now. And that's great. I love meeting other economics nerds out there in the wild. I will drop it in at any chance I get. I feel like the two things that I drop in every time in every video, it's like that meme where it's like no one, and then I say the thing.
Yep.
It's either the fact that I ride on track or my economics degree. It's one or the other that I always bring up. What would you say is yours that you just like always bring up?
Well, obviously it's the Harleys.
The Harley,
or
yeah.
the VFR.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah.
So, I mean,
we should do a counter one time of like in every episode of like how many times we bring up one or the other.
That would actually be really funny.
Yeah, we'll get Andrew to keep track of it. A third party.
Yep.
Yeah, you take on the next one because that was on your video.
Top 7 mods. John Aspinall. Don't know who your mate is, Noob. Seems like a bit of a knob, though. Oh.
Press F for Spike, guys. People chatting shit about him on the internet. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well, these things happen.
Yeah.
And
I will say, just as a side note, I've like slowly built up my tolerance to being a person on the internet, but I just like threw you in the deep end. I just think you just like exposed yourself to hundreds of thousands of people and you're like, hope they like me. That takes some balls, I gotta say.
Whatever. I mean, I've water off a duck's back. It doesn't really bother me all that much.
You're not a big social media person though, right?
No.
That's what I find so interesting because like I definitely was before I started, and then once I had the channel, I kind of deleted the rest of them, and I only do the YouTube stuff now and the Instagram stuff. But since you have like, you don't really do social media, it's interesting that now you like make videos on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. It's really funny.
Yeah, I just like talking about it. If people like to listen, all the better. If they don't, they can sound off in the comments, but whatever. I don't have to read it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad to know this guy. He thinks I'm a bit of a dick.
It's
nice
like that,
British parlance, though.
It's like that Tyler, the Creator tweet from years and years and years ago, where he's just like, ha 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 ha, how the F is cyberbullying real? Like, just don't look at the screen. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, some truth to that. You don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
I gotta skip this one here and go straight to the next one. Top 7 mods. Is it just me or yams sound a bit different today?
Now I love that one because I think it was from your video where you talked about how like you're tired of people saying that. You're like, I am a different person. I sound different. And I think he did that just to kind of like have fun with you. Yeah.
And I know that's what he was doing, but it's just like, all right, this is just a thing that we're gonna see every time.
Every time. Yeah. Every time.
And I made a joke about it in the video I'm editing today.
Yep.
So it's fruitful joke fodder every time.
Yes.
So we've got one more here for the top 7 if you want to take it. It's just like perfect in your wheelhouse.
Yes. BK on the top 7 mods video said, if number 1 isn't a turbo for a Hayabusa, I am unsubbing. Hey, fair enough. Yeah. Dude, that's coming up soon. I've been saying that for months now, but that is coming soon. I promise, guys, to everyone at home, everyone on the stream, the turbo for the Busa is coming. It's just there's so many other things happening all at once that it's difficult to like actually materialize it and make it happen. But I think in the next 2 weeks or so, I have an event in my calendar to just hit order and just get it to the shop. So it is coming. We're going to turbo the Busa, and hopefully we don't die.
It's going to be such a big project.
Yes.
And that's I think part of the thing. It's like you can just you get closer to it on the horizon and you just see this like mountain just materializing behind the horizon, getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's easily going to be the biggest modification project I've ever taken on any bike that I've ever done.
Yep.
Hands down.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
We've actually got a comment here. Well, Spite, I actually really like listening to you. It's a nice balance with Yammie's hyperactiveness.
Yeah, I like people who say that as well, where they're like, like we kind of like yin and yang, we balance each other out, because I'm like really high energy and really strung out and constantly have coffee like on an IV drip, and you're just like more mellow and chill. And then Andrew is like the ultimate chill.
Yeah.
He's the most mellow human ever. If we ever get him on the podcast, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But like, I can't imagine Andrew ever speaking above a hushed whisper.
Mm-hmm.
He's just the most relaxed guy ever.
He's definitely like the nega yam.
Yes, that's got to be a meme. We got to... He's the anti-yam. You got one more comment on there, right?
One more comment. Living with the triple, I found this one the other day, and I just love it. Bananarama, which does Yam hate more, Wendy's or Cowie's?
Why does this persist? Why does this persist that I hate Kawasaki's? I've said so many times I think the 636 is one of the best middleweights, and I love riding them. I think it was because of the Ninja 400 video I did like years ago, where I was like, oh, this is like a premium mediocre. I went into like this really heady discussion of like why the Ninja 400 is a premium mediocre bike, and people like don't forget. Like people, whenever like if you poke them enough, they don't forget what you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's amazing because you have been so vocal lately about the Kawasaki 636 is like the best track bike you could ever get.
It's pretty good, yeah.
And
it's no Daytona, but it's pretty good.
You keep telling me too off camera if and when your Daytona meets a fiery explosive death, you just shoot a rod straight through the gas tank.
Yeah,
the 636 will be the next option.
Oh yeah, for sure. If the Daytona blows up, or if I just bin it to the point of unrepair, I'm definitely getting a 636 next.
Yeah, I feel like I've ridden a 636 very briefly, but not enough to say anything. However, the Ninja, I love it. The Ninja 400?
It's a great bike.
Great bike.
Yeah, really, really good bike.
So maybe we can dispel that rumor a little bit. But you do hate the Wendy's.
Oh, I hate Wendy's. Yeah. The Wendy's can die in a fire. Putting Wendy's on blast right here, right now.
You don't like them square hamburgers?
No, I just don't like fast food in general. It just makes me feel like a greasy ball of disgustingness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
It is pretty tough, but I think that's all we have for the way of
Those are all the comments,
today.
yeah. Let's jump over to our crap bikes.
Sweet. And we can share these with you boys at home. So our first one, let me drop it in the Discord for you. I think you found this one specifically for me.
Yes. I also found it because Shade Tree Surgeon DM'd me on Instagram the other day, and he's trying to buy a Goldwing that kind of looks like this, and he wants to do like a huge cross-country tour with Yammie Noob Enterprises, and we can make a big video out of it, and that would be tons of fun. Yeah, so we're trying to make something like that happen, but this is what year is this? Go back. I don't remember.
This is a 1983 Honda Goldwing.
Now, I want you to look at the premium seat there. That's my favorite thing about this bike. It's the quilted leather seat, beautiful 80s aesthetic, hand-stitched. Might be Corbin, probably not, but this is as dad bike as it gets, guys. This is it right here. It's just, it might have a cup holder. I don't think it does, but it could definitely have one.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy modification. That's how you know you finished your Goldwing, when you slap the cup holder on there. But look at those gauges. That's actually really cool. I love these old Goldwing dashes.
I just love the classic dual analog gauge setup. Yes. I think it's the best. I think it's the best.
I mean, it looks like it's in great shape too, and they only want $2,200 for it, and less than 35,000 miles on it.
That is the surprising part. Goldwings of this age would regularly have over 100K miles.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So what does he say, Spud? I can't read it from here.
It says, in the last 4 years, new belts, new timing belts, new coolant pumps, hoses, coolant, plugs, wires, RAN-DAC carb kit with recent synchronization. Oh, boy. Has braided steel lines. They have the floorboards included, heel-toe shifters. Tachometer hangs up occasionally, so it's disconnected. That's actually probably an easy fix. There's probably a pin or something in there that needs to be cleaned. Pinstriping is bubbling. That's a little bit of a shame. The seat has a few small tears. A little bit of a shame given that, quilting in there. But overall, it seems like a good running bike. Definitely seems like a $2,200 bike.
I think the price is right, and these are kind of becoming more and more kind of cool and cult classic kind of bikes. These old '80s Goldwings. I think Shade Tree, actually, speaking of him again, he listed these in his top tier of hipster class bikes. So if you're trying to look cool, this is definitely one way to do it.
Yep. I'd ride that. Looks really comfortable. It looks really, especially you get some floorboards on there, you could spend all day in the saddle on this.
No worries at all. Like, this is a perfect highway muncher kind of bike.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I get a feeling that our next bike, quote unquote, is not. So let's send this.
It's the classic.
Let's send this over to you, Discord boys. It is the Jazzy.
You guys already know.
It's the Jazzy Air Scooter.
You already know what it is. Jazzy Air Scooter, mobility scoot. Looking strong, looking fresh, clean spec over here. Got the floorboard for Graham to put her feet up on. Nice knobbly tire, so you can take this thing off-road.
You can absolutely crush some hard enduro with this thing.
Absolutely. I still love the idea. So one day we got to get a mobility scooter for the shop. Have to do it. It's non-negotiable. But I love the idea of me rolling into the podcast with it. That would be killer if we could set that up.
It's just this is like the most clean mobility scooter I think I've ever seen.
It's for $400 too, which is actually really cheap. These Jazzy scooters, again, I hate that I'm a connoisseur of mobility scooters now, but these Jazzies do go for much more money than this. They're much more expensive. It's weird how there must be something wrong with Craigslist's listing system that every market has a mobility scooter in it in the motorcycle section. There must be some wires getting crossed or something.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine that throughout all 50 of these glorious United States that people keep messing up and putting mobility scooters in the motorcycle section.
Well, it is motorcycle/scooters, and it is a mobility scooter.
There you go. Okay. Well, all right. Fair enough.
The thing that blows my mind here is look at how much this guy has in the specs department.
Holy
right here.
crap. I'm not reading that. That's a tome of knowledge about this scooter.
This dude,
He's got the turning radius.
You call yourself a connoisseur of mobility scooters.
Oh, this guy's got me way beat. Yeah. So for $400, totally would pick up. Absolutely.
Doesn't have a basket though. So how are you going to carry your groceries?
Quick mod you can always do.
Yeah.
Easy to do. That's a bolt-on for sure. Let's check out the next one.
All right, our next one. Talk about a dad bike. Let's send this over to the Discord boys. It is this 2001 BMW K1200 LT. Good Lord, look at that thing. Dumps like a truck on that one. Good grief.
Yeah, so I mean, this is BMW's answer to the Goldwing. I mean, you can see just in the way it's set up and what kind of bike it is. This is in the mid-2000s, if I remember correctly, because we did a video on this recently. BMW started transitioning the K-Series to be more of a touring kind of long-distance bike like this, as opposed to what they used to make, which was a more naked kind of sporty bike almost.
That was the one that had like the single monoshock front end. That whatever that bike was. It was like the K1200, something like that.
Yeah, which I listed as a... What video did we do that I talked about that bike? It was like the greatest naked bikes of all time, right? Yeah, and I mentioned how it was like, a couple years after the Busa came out, and it was for like a year or two the fastest motorcycle in the world. For no reason, you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy.
Completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But this is in pretty good shape. Look at how squared off those tires are.
Never sees any lean.
I love how it's on wood, too, to keep it from touching the concrete. This bike hasn't ridden in a while. But the seats are in good shape. It's got speakers here in the back, so you can get your 5.1 surround sound on.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about people who blast music while they ride? I think it's so obnoxious.
Yeah, just get yourself
a Cardo.
Yeah,
get something to hear music with. Like, why would you?
Because you'll actually get good sound too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Runs great except for needs a hall sensor replaced.
Don't know what that is.
50,000 mile service done. He wants cash only. I mean, if you want, but it's got a 6-disc changer.
Wow. Where?
Yeah, it's just, I guess, buried in the dash somewhere.
That's insane. My 350Z that I had in high school had a 6-disc changer, and I remember making different mixes for it and having them loaded up in there. So it'd be hilarious.
Is that it right there?
I think that's it right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Imagine loading up your mixes on your BMW there. It's a weird bike. I mean, it's $2,000, so it's really cheap, but it's like, who's gonna buy this?
Yeah.
Whoever's looking whoever's looking at a huge dad bike like this, probably has money to get a real one or like a newer one,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look all that great, to be
Yeah.
honest. So I think that's a big old thumbs down from the two of us.
Yeah, I would say so. The next one's a gem, though.
Next one does look like a gem. Let's share it with you, Discord boys. And it is the Suzuki track bike.
Yep.
For sale or trade.
This is an SV650, and I know that because it's a Suzuki, and I can see the frame, and any Suzuki track bike is probably an SV650.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I tell you guys for a lot of you aspiring track boys out there who will, leave us comments on the Fast Boys channel and all that. This is a great entry point to doing track days. If you can afford or swing to have a secondary motorcycle to do your track days with, you're going to learn a lot more because you're not going to be afraid to bin it. And you're not going to be afraid to just yeet it down the track, and it's no big deal, and you'll learn a lot with it. And the 650 class is actually really, really great to learn with because they got enough torque for you to have fun with, and you can actually go pretty damn fast on them. There's a guy at Eagles Canyon Raceway who has a yellow SV650, and for a while there, I was just as fast as he was on my Daytona, so that goes to show you the potential that these bikes have. I'm now running a little bit quicker than him because I have a much faster bike, but that's more due to the bike than it is to talent. Philip is much faster than I am on his SV. But this is a steal for me, honestly. At $1,300, I think it's what it listed at, right, Spike?
It was $1,300. Yeah,
that's really low. So one thing you want to check for a track bike is just to see if it runs and if you're gonna have to do any parts on it. So let me see kind of what's going on with this.
Track bike for sale or trade. Bill of sale only. Not currently running. May only need a new battery.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. So
Well,
bikes that don't run, it's like either a super easy fix, like a spark plug or a battery, or it's a
nightmare.
It's a nightmare. Yeah. So it's a bit of a bit of a gamble there.
Bring just a spare battery, spare 12-volt battery, and a multimeter. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to,
easy way to check.
Yeah. But one thing, this looks like it's got to be one of the early. It's the early first gen.
Yeah, it's an early first gen.
But did they come with adjustable front forks? I don't think so.
No, that's So can you give me another image with the forks there? I need to take a look. So they're still the right side up forks. So what they did is they probably put a cartridge kit in it.
Mm-hmm.
They probably swapped out the internals on the stock forks and made it a little bit better. Because it's either that or people do GSXR swaps on these and turn them into the upside down setup. But that's a really common mod to do on the first gen SVs is to swap out the internals on the forks.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But this one's cool. It's got all the race plastics. It looks like it has numbers on it, so it probably was either raced or competed with in some sort of class. So, pretty good bike. But it doesn't run, which sucks. But $1,300, that could be like a parts bike if you got another SV. Mm-hmm. It's just so cheap,
I mean, the forks alone might.
That's what I was going to say. The forks
it.
alone would probably cost you about $1,300 to do that cartridge swap.
And I like, if you look closely here where the fairing comes in, that's a frame slider baked in.
Yeah.
So, also the plastics.
Yeah.
Just might as well pick it up as a parts bike.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. So, definitely a positive remark. It says here F-150, F-250, Wrangler, Suburban 2500, Toyota Tacoma. Guess what he's looking forward to buying or trading for?
Yeah, don't know if you're ever going to be able to trade a wretched track bike for an F-150 or a Wrangler. That's probably not going to happen, but, one can dream.
Yeah, one can dream. And so our last motorcycle for the day, 1987 Honda XL 600R.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very colorful motorcycle.
I like how they tried to paint the top of the engine red.
Yep. And let's see if we can't get a closer image of it. Because the engine definitely was not red on this motorcycle.
No.
So they definitely
I don't know of any motorcycle that came stock with engine cases that were red.
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
That is it. It needs to just take it down, sandblast it, and start over with that engine.
Yeah. So the XL600R, I believe, is before they went up to the 650R, because Honda still makes that 650 nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And they made two versions of it. They made like a hardcore Baja racer version of it. And I don't know if the 600R is the predecessor to that. I'm really stretching my dual sport knowledge here, but this is like, a 1980s dual sport, basically. You can just think about it that way. And it definitely looks like it's seen a ton of miles out in the desert and in other trails and stuff.
Yeah, no, this thing has definitely seen its use.
My favorite thing about these old dual sports are the huge banana seats and then the huge front fender. Like, look how enormous that nose is on that front fender.
Yeah, it's got to be like 3 feet of plastic right there.
Yeah.
It's very long. To be honest, I really, as much as I say dual sport
What's up with the
motorcycle-
exhaust?
I think that's a spark arrestor right there.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of Screaming Eagle exhausts actually look like that.
Oh, really?
It's like some sort of weird like sound muffler. You can get a little bit more extra noise, but keep it manageable kind of thing.
Yeah.
As much as I dislike or as much as I say the dual sport style hasn't really changed,
It's changed a little bit.
this is fuck ugly, honestly.
Yeah.
I do not
It's
like
a
at all.
very ugly bike.
The DRZ,
I will say the only thing I like about it is that retro classic Honda paint scheme on the tank.
Yep.
That is very cool, but everything else is very bad.
Yeah.
Very ugly. But I would say dual sports haven't changed since like 2001.
Yeah.
They've been basically the same since then. They really haven't been updated. But this is still when they were still making changes and updating them and doing stuff to it, right? Yeah.
I mean, let's see what he's got to say for it. I bought the bike 4 years ago and never took the time to get it running. Oof, bad sign. It was last registered in 2016, even
If
worse.
it's been sitting for 4 years without running, you're going to have to tear that whole thing apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if he hasn't drained any of the fluids in there. They're just,
It's all gunked up. Yeah.
he's bought a carb kit for it in new plastics.
There you go, Spite. Carb kit. It's all you.
I'm still waiting on that Electron. It'll get here. I have faith.
You're like waiting for Godot, but waiting for the Electron.
Yup.
Yeah, the play's just gonna end, and you're never gonna get the Electron.
That'll be so sad. He says he really doesn't want to spend the time to get it running. Dude, you have no idea how long it's going to take to get that thing running.
Yeah.
Needs a battery also. Monday, it was $600 to register it in California, looking for a Nevada person to buy it. He wants to get $1,200 for it. No way.
No, he wants $2,000 for it, or did he change the price?
I would probably sell it as is for $1,200 right here.
Yeah, that's a lot for a bike that's steep for a bike that's not running, and you need to do all that work to it. I think this thing's worth like $400.
After 4 years of sitting with the fluids in it, it's trash.
Yeah.
And you just need to sell it. But the only reason you'd buy this is if you have a XL 600 yourself and you want to fix it with some of the parts off of here. But getting this running would be a mammoth chore.
Yeah, that'd be a big pain in the ass. It's a pass for me for sure.
Hard pass.
Yeah. And I think that wraps up our crap bikes, right?
Yeah, it wraps up the crap bikes.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to check out Ridge Wallets in the link down below, and make sure you hit that link and check out the world's best minimal wallet. Thanks again to all of our members over on YammieNoob.com. Remember, if you want to sign up and join and support the series and support and chat with us on a live stream, or send us some funny links, or just hang out with us in general, you can always do that. And we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.